Hello and welcome to our Wicked Pub Quiz. Today we're going to ask you 5 questions about the town of Sale in the northwest of England. All right, here's your first question. Where was the pneumatic tire for bicycle racing first acknowledged? Is it A, Marsland Road, B, Dane Road, C, Northenden Road, or D, Cross Street? You've got plenty of time, but you can always pause or fast forward and jump ahead to the answer if you're feeling confident. At the Sale Botanical Gardens, there was a gravel track measuring 5 laps to the mile, unbanked of course. This track lay round a pond in which was a small tree-covered island. In 1890, around this very track, the pneumatic or bolster tire was first officially recognized. It had become obvious that the pneumatic tire had an advantage. So as a handicap, it was decided that the pneumatic tire bikes would start 40 yards behind the starting line if the day was wet, or 35 if it was fine. So of course the lake and the racetrack, it's all gone now, and this is as close as we'll ever get to be on it. The answer is A, Marsland Road, or at least that's the closest road on our list. It was behind the Sale Hotel, now the Moorfield. It was a Victorian pleasure ground. There had been a couple of bike races using pneumatic tires before this, but this was the first time it was officially recognized. You'll find a link to the video in the description. Now, let's get on to question 2. Welcome to Sale in the historic county of Cheshire. It's now part of Greater Manchester. The first lollipop lady started getting children safely across busy streets here in the UK in 1937, and then a little event called the Second World War got in the way. The program really got going in the late 60s and early 70s. Its real name is the UK School Crossing Patrol, and the name Lollipop Man or Lollipop Lady was coined by a dummy. All right, question 2 is for dummies. I mean about dummies. What was the dummy's name? Is it A, Charlie, B, Ronnie, C, Frankie, or D, Freddie? That's right, Charlie and his ventriloquist friend John Boucher. They would visit schools teaching children how to cross the road safely. Now around that same time in 1970, a lady here in Sale started lollipopping. She's the longest serving lollipop lady who's still on the job. She's seen 2 monarchs and 12 prime ministers come and go. But a quarter of those prime ministers were in the past year.
Right, sweetheart. Thank you. My girl. Yeah. Hang on. Right, sweetheart. See you down. Right, sweetheart. I will.
It's A, Charlie. Remember, all of these answers have a dedicated video, and you can find them on our YouTube channel, Wicked Acorn. Now for question 3. What year was the Brooklands Hotel built? Is it A, 1869, B, 1872, C, 1885, or D, 1891? I'll give you a clue. It was torn down exactly 100 years after it was built. So if you remember that, then you can work it out. Hi, it's Paul from Wicked Acorn. This is the Marsland building. Just down that way is the Little B. But before the Marsland building was here, this was the site of one of Sale's finest landmarks, the Big B, the Brooklands Hotel. People will tell you it's a shame they tore it down in 1972, exactly 100 years after it was built in 1872. It was such a beautiful building. They'll tell you that Laurel and Hardy once stayed here. And in 1893, the cotton industry signed the first meaningful agreement between employer and employee here. It was called the Brooklands Agreement. But perhaps the most important page in the history of the Brooklands Hotel was all but forgotten. It happened on the 5th of July, 1909. This question comes from a video about John Johnson Hunt, the first and hopefully last firefighter to lose his life in the line of duty in Sale. Recently, there was a red plaque installed on the Marsland building in his memory. Red plaques are a form of blue plaque in memory of firefighters who lost their lives in the line of duty. Question 4. How many monarchs are represented on the post boxes of Sale? Is it A, 4, B, 5, C, 6, D, 7? Now this is assuming that there hasn't been a new King Charles III post box installed. Royal Mail estimates there are over 115,000 post boxes in the United Kingdom. No matter where you go, you're usually never more than half a mile from a post box. These pillar boxes are such a part of the urban landscape that you probably haven't even noticed that they're not all the same. They all have a royal cipher, and that cipher is different depending on who was on the throne when it was installed. They first came into use during Queen Victoria's reign, and I really had to search my mind to find a Victorian one, but here's one on Marsland Road, just outside Walkden Gardens. Queen Victoria, the grandmother of Europe. Her reign lasted an impressive 63 years, from 1837 to 1901. During that time, Britain saw the rise of the Industrial Revolution and the construction of the transatlantic cable, another invention that was going to see the end of snail mail. The answer is C, 6. Sale is one of the few places that has a post box for each monarch since the first post box was introduced. There's a Victoria, Edward VII, George V, Edward VIII, George VI, and Elizabeth II. Yes, we even have the elusive Edward VIII post box in Sale. Our final question is about blue plaques. How many do we have in Sale? Is it A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, or D, 4? Have you ever wondered what those blue plaques are for? Come on, let's check it out. He was born at 33 Lindau Street, just over that away. But it's a small residential road, and it was decided his blue plaque would be better served here at 131 Northenden Road, Salemore Village. The family moved here during the winter of 1912-1913, above what was then Seymour Mead's grocery shop. It was here, aged just 18, that George opened his own school of physical culture, a man well ahead of his time. I guess this was the beginning of what we would now call bodybuilding. So, the next time you're walking down a street in the UK and you see a blue plaque, take a moment to stop and look up and read it. You never know what fascinating piece of history you might find. The answer to this question is a little tricky because the answer can be B, 2, or C, 3. Because, as I mentioned earlier, red plaques can be considered blue plaques. The most well-known blue plaque scheme is administered by English Heritage and is currently restricted to sites within Greater London. So whether or not English Heritage owns the name blue plaque is up for debate. Blue plaques are now generically used to describe commemorative plaques. So if you consider John Johnson Hunt's red plaque a blue plaque, the answer is 3. So did anybody get them all right? This is part 1. There's going to be a part 2 with 5 more questions about the town of Sale on our Wicked Acorn YouTube channel. If you want to find out more information about the questions in this video, just head over to Wicked Acorn on YouTube and you'll find plenty more videos about the history of Sale. So here's a bonus question. We know that Sale has 3 blue plaques. Well, 2 maybe. So who's the other one for? Tune in next time to find out the answer, and we'll see you next time on the Wicked Pub Quiz.